to continue with our cloud creature design. Just a quick review. We found a lot of cloud reference, about 6 megapixels or larger. And I put them all into this file, which started as my assignment to Photoshop file, because it had a nice cutout of my creature right here. So this is full resolution. What is full resolution for our class? It is 350 pixels per inch at the print size we want. This is actually bigger than we can print in the class. The largest we can print in the class is 13 by 19 inches. So this is over and above. But as long as your resolution isn't too low and isn't too ridiculously high, everything should work fine. So what did I do? Well, I took this creature and I found a reference of a big kind of sheet of clouds. I think of it like cookie dough, and I'm rolling it out. And then we learned a new trick with this project, which is selecting your cutout creature layer, which is all merged together, using the magic wand with contiguous turned off, so if there's any little holes, like that one right there, it will get it. And then click on the empty space with a tolerance of the default 32. That selects all of the empty space. And then, instead of doing anything with that empty space, you change selection of layers. And the selection moves with you. It's like a cookie cutter. And then you can hit Command-J to duplicate that onto its own layer. But notice, I skipped a step. And so it cut the cookie out of my cookie dough and then left the rolled out dough. So instead, what I need to do, because that's a common mistake, is to select that area outside. The reason I select the outside is because it's all the same. It's all emptied out. And it will get all these soft edges that you've already designed in. And then I have to do what's called select inverse. So inverting selections is extremely helpful. It'll be really helpful when we start animating as well. And now it selects everything inside, so not the empty space, but the creature itself. And then I can move that cookie shape of the creature to here, do Command-J, and it will duplicate and cut that cookie out for me. Now that, I move all the way to the top, and then behind it I just painted with the gradation tool here, which you can wait to do, a blue sky. There's so many different ways you can do this. You can get lots of options, but you pick your colors. And you might replace this later. I'll make another layer, because this is how you can make a more complex sky. Kind of overlay a couple different versions and then play with opacity between them. All right, so that's pretty nice. So I've got a sky behind my cookie cutout of cloud. Then I just brought a lot of other reference from Photoshop, some of which I'm probably not going to use too much, and brought them in at full resolution. And this time, because I'm going fast, I didn't even save them to the desktop first. I just went to a Google image search. I searched for clouds. I searched under search tools for limited the size to larger than 6 megapixels. Right? I find one. I say right click, open link in new tab, ones that have kind of a similar lighting to what I need, a similar shape. And there's going to be a lot. And then I can simply click, if it looks like it's a good quality, click and drop right into there it is. Right into my Photoshop file, and it will bring it in. Now what's interesting about this is, unlike saving it to the desktop, it doesn't bring it in as a smart layer. It just brings it in already as a rasterized layer. So that can save you some time. And it sizes it to match its native resolution. So all of that can be helpful if you know what you're doing. The problem is if I modify it here, it gets modified for good. So if I was to start this project from scratch, this is how I would approach it. I would do a Google image search. And let's say I didn't even have a creature designed yet. I could show these skills just by finding one that was large enough, let's say larger than 8 megapixels, that had an interesting silhouette shape. And preferably was cut out on a blank background, like this guy. See, so here's a nice little digital design for creature design. Now what I'm going to do is save this to the desktop so that I can open this now in Photoshop and set this up for you. So this is our assignment 2, our creature on a flat background. But let's say you accidentally flattened it and you need to get out of the background. Well, you use that same technique. You use the magic wand tool with a tolerance of 32 with contiguous turned, in this case turned on, because there are grays within the creature as well. But if I need to add anything, like this little tidbit there, I just hold down Shift and I can get some of the digital artifacts from around this creature. But unlike putting our composite creature into our landscape, we don't need this to be even a perfect cutout because clouds are imperfect. But now I have selected all the way around the inside. How do I switch the selection so it's just the creature, not the outside? Yeah, so I'm going to go to select and invert it. Select inverse. Now I'm selecting inside the creature and I can duplicate it. Let me add that claw back in. And I duplicate it by hitting Command J. And then if I turn off the layer behind, you see I have a cutout on the blank checkerboard of that creature. Now the reason I had to do it that way is because if I just tried to delete all this background from a background layer, it will make me fill it with something. So if I hit delete, it will make me fill it with either white, black, a color, something. And that's not the same as having no pixels, right? So by using the duplicate tool, I put it onto an unlocked layer. To unlock background so that you can delete all the way, and this might be helpful for when we do animation, you double click on the background and you rename it to layer 0, and then it will be unlocked, and then you can delete back to nothing. Okay, so I've started with this. Command D will deselect for you. I'm going to delete that layer. And now, because it's full resolution, it should be print sizable at 350 pixels per inch. So this one's a little small, so I'm going to go ahead and force it up, because I just found this creature from online, to at least 8 by 10 by 350. And it's okay, that's going to soften it up, because this is just my template for my cloud creature. Okay, now I go back to Google image search and I look for clouds. At least 6 megapixels, but maybe even larger, that's fine. And I find a cloud texture that's pretty big. I open it in a new tab, and then, this is the new thing, if the reference looks good, it's nice high quality reference there, I can just grab it and drop it on top, and then use the move tool, push it in place. It doesn't even need to be rasterized. And because it's a cloud, I'm able to use my transform skills now, and I can grow it and roll out the cookie dough so I get a full cloud texture to cut my creature out from. Maybe something like that. Now, how do I cut out my creature? The reason I'm repeating this is just because this is our new thing. I want to select everything inside the creature perfectly. But if I try to click within the creature, there's going to be things that are left out. So I'm going to turn contiguous off now. With a 32 tolerance, I'm going to click on the empty space around the creature. And then I'm going to say select inverse to be everything except what surrounds the creature. Then I select the layer on top, my clouds, and I hit Command J to duplicate from there, and I have a third layer, which is now just my creature. So there's a lot of little skills that we can do really fast. Now to build a sky behind it, I create a new blank layer with this little post-it note. I put it behind my creature cloud cutout. I'm going to use the gradient tool, and I can click on it and choose my colors. Typically a darker blue at the top, and then a lighter blue or white at the bottom. I'll just leave it white. And then you just drag down, and I have a sky. So now I can start building up. But I need more clouds. I need more reference. So I start pulling them in. That one's not that big. Some of them are going to be bigger. That's a nice one. And then you have the raw material. And now hopefully we're all able to set this up. Even if our creature design isn't finished to our satisfaction, we can still do this project very well using any kind of creature shape we want. Okay, I'm going to keep those open in case I need more, because the nice thing about using clouds as compositing material is you can always use a cloud more than once. You can clone stamp from it, you can move it around, you can use different aspects. There's lots of clouds here. How do I start using them? Well, we're going to get a lot of magic wand help here. So if I want everything but the blue, I can have contiguous turned off. So it gets all these little holes, and then I can do select inverse again, and now I've selected all the clouds from this reference, and I hit Command J, and sure enough, I have this nice little cookie cutter of cloud that I can add to my creature now and start messing with. Right? How do I soften its edges? These are things we've looked at before, but this is really useful. Use the magic wand, select all the empty space around with contiguous turned off, and now go to Refine Edge. And click to remember your settings so that you can use this over and over. But because I want the cloud to be soft, I'm going to feather the edge. I'm also going to shift the edge larger, and in order for that to work, I have to make the radius of the edge detection a little bit bigger. I'm not going to smooth it out because I don't want it to just be a circle or anything. Maybe I'll smooth it out a tiny bit, but not much. And it will preview for it. You see the little gray rim? That's showing you how this selection is biting in. And then when I look at it, I see that that's biting all those crisp pixels that are just the transition between the blue and the cloud. And then I hit delete. And I can hit delete multiple times because it's feathered, and it will cut it back kind of softly, which is nice. And then of course, I can just use my lasso and say, well, I don't want any of this. I don't want this hard edge. I don't want that hard edge. And you can just erase away from it wholesale. Lost my place a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, I figured that would happen. There we go. Okay, now I can take this, and just like our first exercise, I can transform it, I can rotate it, I can warp it. I'm trying to match the lighting and the shape of this creature. And I can use my big eraser, really soft edged, maybe starting at 100% opacity or even less, and start biting away at it. And without having to change color or anything, I'm adding texture to this cloud creature.